Bucket and Zandy, two skilled snipers, are introduced to us in the opening scene of the film in the imaginary nation of Costa. They are currently concealed in a far-off area, closely monitoring a sizable compound used for the production and delivery of weapons. Riker, one of the most infamous arms traffickers in the world, owns this property. He is accompanied by Maxim, a madman who designs some of the most lethal illicit weapons in the world. Bucket and Zandy are members of a group tasked with breaking into the complex and killing Maxim and Riker. They start shooting at Riker's guards, who are positioned throughout the building as the mission begins. Before they can raise the alarm or alert Riker and his crew to the impending danger, the snipers, of course, eliminate them all. A seasoned officer named Modesai joins them after the perimeter is clean, and the two of them start sweeping the facility, killing any hostiles they come across. Modesai and the group eventually succeed in securing the entire establishment. While one group secures the armory, another takes over the garage. Modesai and a squad of his men leave the compound and make their way directly to Riker. Riker suddenly draws his gun and starts a violent gunfight with them. In the heat of the moment, he calls the city's Prime Minister Diaz and asks his personal militia to provide support. The twist is that Diaz is more than just a politician. He manages his own private militia, taking care of all the grunt work in the background. Additionally, Riker is their primary source for weapons. Riker so anticipates Diaz will deliver on his promise. However, Riker understands after the call that Diaz is unlikely to get to him in time. Thus, he takes a risk. He seizes Maxim and makes his way to a hidden chamber located far within the estate. That room contains one of Maxim's perverse inventions, an odd and extremely dangerous weapon. Riker insists on understanding how it operates. After explaining the activation procedure, Maxim cautions everyone to leave right away to avoid the trigger. Otherwise, nobody's going to survive. This is where things start to get out of hand. The weapon is about to be unleashed when Modesai and his group enter the chamber. Riker activates it because he has no other option. Riker, Maxim, Modesai, and everyone else in the room are knocked out when a tremendous energy surge tears through the space. What follows? That's still a mystery. But as the story progresses, you can be sure we'll learn more. We're going to go back in time by 48 hours, my friend, to observe how Modesai put together his team for this lethal mission. We go back in time to when Bucket first arrived in Costa. Modesai meets him and gives him an explanation as soon as he lands. They intend to pursue Riker and Maxim, and they won't return until the task is completed. Two of Modesai's loyal officers, a man named Nova and a woman named Nadia, accompany him. After Bucket is introduced to them both by Modesai, they all board a car that is taking them to their special operations base, where the other members of the squad are waiting. While traveling, Nova engages Bucket in conversation. We find out from their conversation that Nova is from Costa Rica and that his uncle is Diaz, the dishonest prime minister. Nova, however, is not at all like his uncle. He is actually in charge of the opposition to Diaz's government and his alliance with Riker. Nova joined Modesai's team determined to eradicate the corruption tainting the nation, with the sole objective of achieving his long-held desire of permanently eliminating both Riker and Diaz. Then there's a big revelation. At one point, Bucket was charged with the murder of Nova's father, a genuinely honest politician and former Costa Prime Minister. The catch is that everyone, even Nova, is aware of Bucket's innocence. The actual offender? Diaz himself, who planned the killing in order to gain control. The group eventually reaches their base. Bucket is taken by surprise as soon as he enters. Rosie, an old buddy from long ago, appears in front of him. He was the one who suggested Bucket to Modesai for this mission, Rosie informs him. Appreciative of the trust, Bucket's expression brightens. Bucket is then presented to the other members of the squad by Rosie. Hello, Hera, Angel, and two additional agents, Jansen and Jet, are present. At that moment, Modesai and Zandy enter and introduce Bucket, a South African sniper, to him. According to Modesai, Bucket will act as Zandy's trainer during the expedition because despite his exceptional gun skills, he hasn't had any actual combat experience. The arrangement is accepted by all. A comprehensive model of Riker's compound constructed inside the base is later shown to us by Modesai. Inside it, the crew starts training, practicing every step as though they were already inside Riker's fortress. The objective? Should become familiar with the layout, identify guard locations, and prepare for any situation that may arise. Bucket continues to mentor Zandy in the interim, giving him advice and pointers. The group eventually prepares and sets out to defeat Maxim and Riker. From the covert approach to the moment, everything goes awry when Riker uses Maxim's weapon to unleash an enigmatic energy blast that renders everyone unconscious. We watch the operation play out. Rosie, who was outside the room when the explosion occurred, rushes in as we go back to that same moment. He tries to stop Riker after discovering that he is still alive. Modesai and the others begin to recover consciousness at the same moment. They swiftly take Maxim and Riker under control and start to lead them out of the complex. They are joined by Bucket and Zandy to assist guard the route and guarantee their survival. Riker tells them as they are leaving that they must leave right away because Prime Minister Diaz is going to dispatch his private militia to kill them all. Maxim reveals a startling fact. The energy of the weapon hasn't even yet manifested its full impact. The actual harm lies on the horizon. Everyone believes he is bluffing. Then it starts. A few seconds after Modesai's nose begins to bleed, he passes away. Everyone in the room, including Riker and Maxim, begins to die in the same manner one by one. To put it another way, nobody who came into contact with the weapon's enigmatic energy lived. There are no exceptions. Only the people who weren't in the room with the weapon. Bucket, Zandy, Rosie, Angel, Nova, and Hera were still alive at this moment. Angel is the most upset and snaps at Rosie, accusing him of not being in the room with the others as the original plan called for. She accuses him of concealing something. Perhaps he was aware of what was going to happen and purposefully avoided danger. However, Rosie adamantly disputes it. Bucket intervenes and brings everyone to peace. He advises them to investigate the true mechanism of this weapon, including why there is a lag before its effects manifest and why exposure to it causes death at a later period. Bucket is aware that something about it simply doesn't add together. He nevertheless makes an effort to defuse the situation and get everyone's attention on what has to happen next. He then presents the revised strategy. First, Nova's mission is to transfer all of the weapon's intelligence to a U.S. intelligence satellite because he is a tech expert with significant data extraction talents. In this manner, precise information about the weapon can be obtained by the U.S. and the other participating countries before it ends up in the wrong hands. That information might be the only thing that can stop Diaz's militia if they manage to get to the property and seize the weapon. Bucket informs the crew that Diaz's men will arrive quickly. Everyone else must take their positions and prepare for a firefight while Nova manages the upload. He also goes over the last stage of the plan, which is to wire explosives across the entire property. To ensure that no one else ever obtains that weapon, they will blow the place up as soon as the job is finished. The team immediately gets to work. Everybody goes to their designated spots. Nova starts the data transmission process after going to the server room. Shortly later, the compound is overrun by Diaz's militia. Bucket's plot begins at that point. In order to blind the enemy and cause mayhem, the team throws smoke grenades into the yard. Bucket suddenly shows there and begins to kill troops one by one in a deadly and silent manner. He fades into cover after clearing a route, allowing Zandy, Rosie, Hera, and Angel to begin their attack. This is where it gets really intense. A group of militia members corner Hera. Despite running out of ammunition, she pulls out a combat knife and enters full-on hand-to-hand combat mode. It's a violent, action-filled scene. However, she is shot by another squad when they arrive. It's a heartbreaking moment when Hera falls. Fortunately, Bucket is close by. Before the shooters even notice he's there, he puts on his thermal vision goggles, locks onto them, and kills them all. Bucket rushes to Hera's side after the dust settles, but it's too late. She is no longer there. Bucket is notified by Nova that additional soldiers are encroaching on the server room in the meantime. Since the phone he gave him earlier is linked to the explosives that were placed in the hallway, Bucket instructs him to utilize it. Nova is quick to act. He sets off the explosion, which destroys the hallway and eliminates the approaching adversaries. Nova immediately verifies that the data upload is finished. He leaves the server room and blows it up, eradicating any remnants of Maxim's weapon and its underlying technology. Shortly after all of that mayhem, Bucket recognizes that it's time for them to all go before more of Diaz's militia troops arrive. Consequently, he calls. In an attempt to reorganize with the rest of the crew, he enters the courtyard. However, a group of soldiers ambushes him as he crosses, striking him in the stomach. In a desperate attempt to join up with the others, Bucket, wounded but still fighting, takes out the entire gang and rushes to clear. Nova, meantime, is traveling to the meeting spot when a soldier unexpectedly emerges, shoots him twice, and drops him to the ground. Bucket and Rosie are waiting for them when they get there. Bucket informs them that he is hurt and that a group of militiamen is still encroaching. Even if it means losing his life, he resolves to stay behind and fight them off in order to give the other members of the team time to flee. However, his lifelong buddy Rosie won't leave him. The group moves forward. The surviving militia soon encircles them. However, Bucket and Rosie fight fiercely, eliminating soldier after soldier without giving up. And reinforcements show up precisely when things seem hopeless. A group of Nova's rebels arrive, eliminate Diaz's remaining troops, and guarantee victory. Finally, the quest is over. Later, while others gather the fallen, the team starts to withdraw. After checking Nova's body, someone yells. He is still alive. Days go by. Zondi and Angel join Rosie and Bucket as they stand on a calm beach, all four of them thinking back on what transpired. We find out from their talk that Zondi and Angel have made the decision to remain in Costa Rica and assist the rebels in permanently overthrowing Diaz's corrupt government. Angel and Zandy bid them farewell with affection. After nodding, Bucket and Rosie leave, eager to get home. One thing they all know: they succeeded. The film then comes to a close.